Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Reverse Sweep. I am Doug Sensamarin, joined alongside Enable, Parasite, and Aches. And guys, I know I didn't do the last Reverse Sweep that we did, but this break has been absolutely ridiculous. Like, I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in almost 2 months now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it
It's
just
been a
feels really
minute.
good to be back
Been like
now, you
6
know?
weeks, yeah.
Wait, I forgot about that you weren't even on the last episode, so that's why you have to do the intro.
Dude, it was Minnesota, and now it's May 8th. So when was Minnesota? Like the first week of April or something?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I don't.
March,
It's been
maybe?
too long. It's been too long, regardless.
No, you got a Boston Breach hoodie on now. That's how long it's been. You weren't on the
Wait,
Breach
I never
last time
talked
you
about
were
being
here.
on Boston
No.
on the podcast?
Nope.
Wow. It's
Hey,
been so
subs are
long.
in nowadays too, so you might just get your shot, Dougie.
I
You
mean,
might
dude,
actually come out
Jordan,
win.
and I mean, Spart joining LAG. We haven't talked about any of this stuff since the last podcast. I joined Boston. Spart filled in for LAG and won the event. Jordan just filled in for OpTic and they beat
We
FaZe and
talked
got
about
top
that.
four.
You just weren't here.
I know I wasn't there for it, but that's how long it's been for me. That's the crazy part. So
Yeah.
I just feel really good to be back and like just be here talking to you guys about Call of
Yeah,
Duty.
we missed you,
Learned a lot of
man.
good stuff.
And speaking of LAG,
Oh, you want to start it off with?
Yeah,
no.
let's start it off. I mean, hey, it's been a long break. We're gonna have to dive into that. I mean, obviously they win Minnesota, and then we had the Pro-Am this weekend, and them boys didn't win a single series. So
They didn't look
Yeah.
great. They didn't. I mean, they did have what in pool play? They lost 3-2. They got reverse swept, and then the
First
other
match, right, Ian, to
Ye-
Toronto Academy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll be willing to say it. We all said it. They're in a weird spot now because what we said was going to happen happened, where you win the event, right? So you have to give Spartan opportunity, and he didn't even play bad. In my opinion, he probably played the second best on the team from the series that I saw this event, even though it was only a couple series. But it's like, now what do you do? Because Gunless is on his way to being back. Gunless could have, like, LAG could have won the event with Gunless in the same fashion they did with Spart. But so now you have a player with a ton of potential. He's obviously a very talented player. It's like, do you let him go to another team and make them better? Or do you bring him back into the main lineup?
I think there's a lot of questions to be answered regarding LAG. I mean, especially the Volk, right? We haven't really dived into that. Obviously, the Volk got GA'd since. So, anyway, more to talk on them later. We also need to talk about FaZe struggling a little bit. Haggy, I know you said you think that they have a mental block against OpTic.
Yeah,
Obviously, they're
definitely.
struggling against that team specifically. I don't know if any of you have any short thoughts about that.
I've seen it before. It was just opposite, Pat. You remember back in
Oh,
AW?
OpTic had a little mental against Mr. Ian Wyatt,
I mean, it was a big mental block. I'll be willing to say it, but I think Atlanta FaZe does. Like, they should have won that series versus OpTic. I thought, Jesus Christ, I got a dog hair on my face. I thought that once Illy was subbed out in this tournament, that this was Atlanta FaZe's tournament, and they went through pools, easy peasy. They looked great. They even started the first map in that OpTic series, and I was like, okay, this is over. 3-0, 3-1 max. And they still somehow lost. Like, no disrespect to OpTic, because even though Illy wasn't playing, they still have Shotzzy, they still have Scump, they still have Dashy. And no disrespect to General, because he's good as well, but they got to win that series 10 out of 10 times.
100%.
Like, there's just no way that they don't win that series unless they have some sort of mental block. And I don't know if they're going to be able to win an event this year, because they might run into OpTic. Until they can get a win over OpTic, they're chalk. They're compromised, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this is this literally looks like the same season as the MW season, where FaZe was always just number 2. It didn't matter how good they looked versus everybody else. They played against Shotzzy, they played against Illy, on the Dallas Empire roster, and they couldn't beat those guys no matter what the hell they did. So I mean, it's looking very reminiscent. I know we got the same MW engine, so it's interesting to see how that translates over to other Call of Duties.
That
Or
was
he
the first
seems
thought
to.
I had too, though. I had the same first thought too, because Shotzzy was great in Cold War as well, but obviously Simp and aBeZy on their subs were just the best subs in the game. And then you go into the Vanguard engine or the Cold War or Modern Warfare engine, and it's like Shotzi's back to being the best. Inder's winning again. So I found that very interesting too, Chris. I do think the engine definitely manipulates like how good a player and a team could perform. I think another good example would be Toronto Ultra, but we could talk about that a different time.
Speaking of the Dallas Empire roster, Mr. Crimsix, man himself, notched, I think, what he is going to count as his 38th win here at the Pro-Am.
He's 2 off Ogre too, right?
Yeah,
For the most
depends
in
on
FPS history?
depends on who you ask, because I think there's an Australia event in there where he played
Oh
2
no.
people at the Australian casino in
Well, we would have to fact check. Ogre 2 probably got some local lands in there somewhere, bro.
yo, but
40, like,
the Halo 1, Halo 2 locals,
yeah,
they were
like, come on.
tough, yo. They were tough.
No.
We
Bro,
talking
they were
about players
playing.
going to Australia, just gambling, playing. I don't know who he was playing on the side in Sydney, just having a blast at some of
No
those
shot he
tournaments.
counts that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
he
he's
does.
count,
He
oh,
does,
oh yeah,
for a
okay, never
fact.
mind.
It
He's at
was
least
that
37 then. That's it.
that
He's 3
was it
away.
the Sydney, I think it was in Sydney. That's like one of those Australian invite onlys. It was 4 teams. It was like 1 Australian pro team and like 2 Australian semi-pro teams or something, and like obviously pros in the Australian leagues. So it's questionable, but I think
Yeah.
this event definitely counts more than those do. But
Yeah.
either way,
Oh, this was a win. This was a fair win. Every
yeah,
team was there.
it just wasn't a major. It was a win. It wasn't a major.
It
It
kind of
was
reminds me
impressive
of the
nonetheless.
pro-am, not the pro-am, the kickoff classic. It's kind of very similar in terms of like where I would rank it. I don't know if it's a major win, but it's still very, it's a big win still.
Bro, it's tough. Yeah. I mean, I would value it more than the kickoff classic. Like the single limb was whack. But I love the pool play. I love seeing the challenger teams get an opportunity. So I wish they did more of it, to be honest. But you got to give NYSL credit. They came out, they beat who they had to beat. I mean,
4 round 11 victories.
Yeah.
They played a lot of Call of Duty, so I definitely think it counts as a win, by the way. All the matches you play in pool play, then you have to go through a bracket, albeit single limb. I mean, it has to count.
You know what's crazy? So this is the Pro-Am, right? And a lot of the reason the Pro-Am was a thing was to give, amateurs a chance to shine. And although an amateur team didn't make it, I was talking about this before, but you saw a lot of amateurs, really show their stuff. Not amateurs, but like former amateurs, people that just literally became pros, that just got their chance on teams. You saw a lot of high impact plays from people like Kismet. Draza played really well for the Thieves that got second. You see Paul, who also was rocky road through challengers and London Royal Ravens and all that stuff.
Draza as a challenger now. He's been a pro for
Well, no,
2
but
years.
I'm saying, yeah, you're right. But like I'm saying, like these household names that a lot of the veterans and stuff like that, and love, like they're getting outshined to a degree by some of these players that, just recently started blossoming into their careers. And even then, players that aren't on pro teams like Scrappy, for example, I think the Pro-Am, congrats to New York, but the Pro-Am did a lot and for some of these people. And I think the overall having the Pro-Am is a good thing in Call of Duty. Maybe, they have more of these types of things, and not so much because I think the pro or the AM teams can compete with the pro teams. You'd be stupid to think that, especially with the resources that pro teams have nowadays. And it's just, that's just not going to be a thing. Yeah.
You saw, but it's still, it adds, sorry for cutting you off, but it adds more to the game. Like for the fan experience of watching is like, there was a part of me. I actually had Toronto Ultra. I don't know which one, the one with Scrappy. They all sound the same. But I had them advancing into the bracket play. But it's like you have that potential to quote unquote upset a pro team. So I love it. I wish they did more of it, to be honest with you. But you can keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I just basically want to say that like it got a lot of eyes on players like Scrappy, bro, because I know a lot of people probably looked at the Challengers team. They're like, oh yeah, this guy's good. He won Challengers team. But I don't think people realized how good that guy was, because I was even surprised because I've seen him play against AMs and he's disgusting. But oh my God, he was frying pro teams. That guy's got a bright future ahead of him. But yeah, props to the Pro-Am because they did a lot of good for the scene. But anyways, before we actually officially start the show and we start talking about some topics here, Aches decided that his hat's coming off if we get 2K subs on this episode. So if you guys want to see what the mystery hair, the mystery hairline, as I like to call it, is looking like,
wait, let me add to
get
this,
2K
Chris, real
subs.
quick. I'm totally just cutting you off, but guys, just to make it a little bit more clear, the highest we've been received before in an episode for subscribers was 1,000 when Pat did a call to action. So for this call to action, it's actually really important to myself and Chris. I don't know about Ian as much, but Pat's had this same hat on forever now. It seems like I haven't seen him in so long, and he's always wearing it. So we asked him, "What's up with your hair?" And he goes,
that shit smells.
He showed us the sideburns, and he literally has some mullet growing. And I was like, when's the last time you got a haircut? I said November. It's been 6 months since Pat has gotten a haircut. So we have to see him take the hat off. Please get us
Yeah,
to
and
the
if anybody wants to see, you literally just go watch the 100 Thieves Cash App Compound show match where I smoked up Nade Shot, Clay.
Dude, that was 6 months
Is
ago when you got a
that the
haircut.
last time you cut your hair?
Yeah.
That was the last time you cut your hair.
Whoa, brother.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we need 2,000 subs, please.
But
guys.
my hair
I
didn't
never
look
do
the
this,
same as it
please.
always
Bro.
did, like before at any other event that I went to.
Bro, that hat is glued to your head. You definitely wear that when you go out to do anything. Oh
If
my
you're wearing
God,
it here,
bro.
yeah, I agree with
That's-
Chris. Absolutely.
That
Yeah, so
shit's
That's what
sweating,
hats
bro.
are for, bro.
Dude, take the
So
headset
2,000
off.
subs. Wait, we need
Couple times.
2,000 though?
2,000
We've gotten
subs from this
1,000 when-
episode.
Hey, please,
Yeah,
if you're
first
watching
episode.
this video, we need to hit 2,000 subs. I got to see Pat's mullet. Have
Headset
to.
off, Pat. Hat off. Boom.
Okay,
I
well,
would just get a haircut, and then
while
y'all
we're
would be
on-
like, "Fuck."
while we're on the topic of
Hearing
breaks from Call of Duty, breaks from haircuts, as Pat, has had, this break that we've had is unacceptable. Not only
worst.
from a content standpoint where we've had nothing to talk about, but from a player standpoint, I don't like, or like even like a viewer standpoint, bro. Call of Duty, I feel like was doing well. I think a lot of people were tuning into the events, and Call of Duty was
Momentum
popping
killer.
off. There was a lot of momentum, right? And now you go look at the viewership from this weekend, and it was fucking mid. Even when
was
OpTic
bad.
playing, even when
Yeah, I
OpTic
saw
was playing, it was
FaZe
mid.
OpTic had like 40, I think. Like,
Yeah, what is that?
40K?
FaZe OpTic
Finals had
40K?
30. 31, I think, right?
Yeah, it was low. It was
I
low.
mean, you just kill all momentum. And they have another break coming. I don't like
And we talked about this before, even with the launch of the CDL. Like, why is the CDL starting in February when the launch of the game and all the hype around the
Yes,
game is
yes.
in October and November?
bro, I don't understand
Especially
it.
this year, too.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind is like there's people that are actually in a room talking about the format, the schedule,
Getting paid bags
and
to
getting
come up with
paid
this.
absolute FU money. And they're like signing off on this, like, oh yeah, this is perfect. We'll give them a month break here. We're gonna start 2 months after the game
Let 'em
releases.
let 'em vacation. That
We're
was
gonna have a little,
that was the
yeah.
word for the
And there's a
month break.
5-month off season. Like, bro, it's so frustrating. And I don't mean any disrespect to the people that actually make these calls, but it's just like, how do you do that and actually think it's a good idea? The game's already trash, respectfully. But on top of that, it's like you kill all momentum. Bro,
Respectfully.
I was grinding COD, okay? I was grinding COD, and then that 1 month break or however long it was happened,
Couldn't
and
care less.
couldn't care less. And now it was even tough to kind of watch the series this weekend, I'll be honest. Like, I just wasn't as into it because I was like, oh, fuck, dude, I don't even know. Like, I'm not keeping up with anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know. They have to fix it moving forward, in my opinion. It's honestly kind of pathetic at this point because they're
Conspiracy.
moving backwards.
Conspiracy here. It's not because they wanted the players to get a vacation. It's because they wanted the staff to get a vacation, bro.
You're
All the
not
people
wrong. You're
running the
probably not
league,
wrong.
bro. Like, what were they? I want to know. Like, I'm not trying to call anyone out here. I want to know what the hell they were doing during this break.
Oh, no cares in the world. They were probably out golfing. Okay, they were in Hawaii or something. But
Paid
like,
vacation, they're going to take it as such.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
I think, but the thing is, there's only 4 majors this year, right? And even with the qualifiers leading up, that's only like, what is it? Is it 3 qualifying weekends before the majors? So like really only 4 weekends of Call of Duty. So with champs included, like 17 weekends throughout the whole, like that's all you get of competitive Call of Duty is 17 weekends.
Bro, do you guys remember when we used to have an event like twice a month? Bro, I remember there was a point where like in AW, we went to like 17 like events in a
plus
season.
all the online leagues, plus the
You had a
2Ks, the
2K
5Ks.
every weekend, which was a little excessive, but still.
It was so much fun,
nonstop.
though.
We'll
So much
find
fun.
we'll find the middle ground there. Because
there was
it
action going on year round.
like I do agree with
There's
what
like
you
a
said.
1 month break, right? 2 month break.
We had our off season. That was it. Between
yeah, that
when the
was
game
it.
ended, champs ended, and the new game. That was it. That was our only break.
But
Which
so
is
It wasn't
fine.
that
It was
long,
like
though.
that was long as it felt long as
It
hell.
felt- yeah. Oh, bro, you get like 2 weeks in the off season. You're like, damn, I want to play some
Yeah.
COD. Like, so I feel
We
bad
started
for the
playing
players.
Old CODs. We started going
yeah.
back and playing the old CODs. Like, damn, when's the new game dropping?
Like, I feel bad for the players and I feel bad for the fans. And you don't need to go to the extreme, like you said, Pat, where there's 15 events or 15 majors and there's a 2K or 5K every weekend and a league, whatever, all this like online league. But like, come on, we just need more. We need more than we have right now. And there's no good reason besides wanting to save money and getting paid vacation, in my opinion, like Doug said, because it's not good for the players. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for the league, like for the teams. So I don't know.
Less breaks, less league matches, more tournaments.
And
I would
no
like to see that.
Wait, and no Warzone tournaments. Can we talk about that? That like Warzone integration with the pros. I
Bro,
think that was a flop.
I didn't even watch. Didn't even
Bro,
care.
it had
Bro.
like record low viewership. I was
Not
surprised.
only
If
that,
you're gonna
that shit
do-
was
if you're
on
gonna do
YouTube.
Warzone- yeah, I don't care about if you're gonna do Warzone tournaments. That's perfectly cool. I'm all for it. But like the integration between like the pro and the Warzone scene, I think was a total flop. I think there was no interest around it at all from the competitive community. And as far as the viewership goes, I don't think the like casual Warzone
What
players
was it?
were all about
What
it.
was the viewership, Pat?
It was bad. It was really low. I saw like 10K on one stream. I didn't see anything
Ooh.
high, bro. It was low. It was
Well,
really
the
low.
thing is though, Warzone is it's all about the actual streamers that stream Warzone. Those
That's what I'm
guys definitely
saying,
had a
yeah.
lot of viewers, but
And
the
it's usually on
actual
Twitch too,
like
right?
yeah, it was on Twitch. The actual YouTube stream was like, bro, I didn't even know what was happening. That's how bad it was.
I did
Yeah.
look.
I mean, we
saw.
got
I
knocked out Quake, so we
I've
played
watched-
it. We lost Quake.
Yeah, I tuned into, I think, Zed. I don't know. I tuned into one of the Boston Breach guys, and because they all had their own POVs, and obviously not disrespecting Zed. He doesn't stream. He's not a streamer, but he had like 6 viewers, and I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm out of here. Like
It's so cruel, dude.
no, not to him like that,
I
but it's just
understand, I
like the
understand.
fact that in the
They made
leagues,
new live stream accounts for these people to stream their point of views. I don't
Yes,
think it
that's
was
what I'm
more so
saying,
that you
like-
could watch their. I don't think it was so that you could watch their POV, Ian. I think it was more so that they could get the individual clips and put them out as clips on their Twitter account. I don't think they made it to like have people be like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to watch YouTube's Zed POV." You know?
Okay, that makes sense because I wasn't
what I
coming.
would
I wasn't
assume
coming
if
at
I
like
was running
Zed. It was like
No, I
who in the
understand what
league
you mean.
thinks, yo, let's have everyone stream their point of views. It's like, bro, you have people that no one is gonna watch. Respectfully, so I don't know. It's just,
Bro, you gotta stop roasting people.
well, no, because I'm roasting the league,
right,
not the player. But like, respectfully, but I'm not trying to have collateral. You know, I don't want Zed
Right.
to come across this and be like, yo, what the fuck, man? You think, like, Zed's a cool guy.
I
I
think
don't
he
know. That's
will, bro.
besides the point.
Him and his, what'd you say, 6 viewers are probably hella offended
Bro.
right
They're
now.
they're coming at your neck, bro, for sure.
You about to
Yeah,
get
but
you
6
roast
tweets
my hair,
after
bro.
this.
You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. The breaks are horrible. I think we should go back to what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Pat, to be honest. And that's LAG. Because I really want your opinion on them and what they should do moving forward.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, look. So I think the first thing we address is the Volk, right? Like they obviously threw a curveball at that Minnesota event, pulled out the Volk. I don't think any teams were expecting it.
Mhm.
I don't think any teams outside of maybe just Spart had prepared with it. I think it had a better headshot multiplier. It had like crazy more range. When comparing it to you guys have seen like exclusive aces
Mhm.
range breakdowns. It looked literally identical to a Rampart to me. It was like that middle ground between the AR and the SMG that like dominated in that niche. And like when you look at a lot of the maps that are played on Vanguard, like that's the ideal range for that gun. And I think that was a massive curveball into just people playing against them and teams just being like, all right, yeah, let's try it out. So anyway, they win the event, also miraculous S&D performance, but then it goes and gets GA'd in like a week, right? Like basically right away, but they didn't even play with it after that. And then they go into this event and we're all like, okay, yeah, let's see how they do. And they look pitiful. Like to me, they just look pitiful. They were all over the place, sloppy. The one standout I would say is Kyler was probably their best player.
Agreed on
Slasher
that.
had some pitiful performances. Asim really, I think, dropped off a
Rough
lot
event.
from the Minnesota.
Yeah, it was a rough event for him.
Spart kind of, I mean, as we expected, he kind of did his thing like he did at Minnesota. Maybe not as extreme, but played solid. For me, I mean, I don't know what they should do, but I think if they leave Gunless on the bench, they're gonna regret it in the long term. I'm not saying bring or replace him with Spart and kind of go back to the default, But I think they should really look at their roster and think, is there a way we can incorporate Gunless back into the mix? Because Pierce is a superstar, and I think, before Kyler started stepping up, was their best player. So I don't know. I think there's some tough decisions ahead. Major 3 is right around the corner. They're probably going to keep Spart in the short term, but I think it's got to be on everybody's mind is if they should bring back Big P if he's healthy.
First team to have a substitute out for S&D. Just bring in Spart for the S&Ds.
No, bro,
You
no.
think
Pierce
Pierce
for
is
the
their
response.
problem in search, though? I don't think Pierce is their problem in
No,
search.
I'm obviously trolling. This will never happen. But I mean, to say that Spart isn't like one of the best S&D players is crazy. That guy was really disgusting in search, constantly making plays, and they obviously won all their S&Ds. But I mean, honestly, I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. But I mean, we all saw this coming, bro. I was talking about it on the
Oh,
flank,
yeah.
but it's hilarious, bro. One day, one team's the best team in the game. The next day, they're not. They're just garbage. Like it's terrible. It's terrible to watch. It makes predicting things hard to call. I mean, we can take the words straight from the horse's mouth, bro. Slasher literally said they had a miracle run. And then
Yeah, no.
they had this miracle run where they look like a fucking the best team at the time, and then they go back to playing the same way that they did before the event.
Uh-huh.
Like
They didn't win a
don't know.
series, right? They lost
Nope.
all
No.
3 of their series in pools.
And got reverse swept.
And Litico had the audacity to tweet me some gif. He was smoking a cigar, Michael Jordan shit.
Yeah, so I was saying this, bro. He needed to get humbled a little bit, brought back to earth after his little "Are you not entertained?" gimmick
Oh,
from the win.
yeah, come on.
But
I mean,
I hate that it had to be by an amateur team.
No, dude.
yeah, like you
Really
could have
want
been
to
humbled
see
with like a
Slasher.
quarterfinals appearance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
He
maybe,
put in his place, dude.
and it's tough because I get it, man. We all get it. We competed. Like there's just a high of winning an event,
Yeah.
especially in that fashion. And you're obviously even if you are super realistic, like I feel like Austin is, and he knows it was a miracle run, and it is very unlikely to happen again. But you still have that new level of confidence for yourself and your team. So it sucks to see them not win a series, but yeah, we all kind of called it. Like they're just not a.
Middle
I don't even know if I can't call them a top team because.
I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, I still think they're very good, but it's so hard right now in this game, right? We've had
How
4
can we
different
gauge
winners.
who's the best, Ian? I mean, Thieves looked horrible. Now they went
bro,
to a
I'm
finals.
telling-
New
No,
York
that's
looked
what that's
horrible,
what I'm
they just
saying.
won.
That's what I'm
LAG
saying.
looked horrible. They won. They look horrible again.
There's
OpTic
two-
got first, sixth, fourth.
There's
like,
2 ways that you can gauge how good a team is, and it's their consistency factor,
Mhm.
or you just
Atlanta FaZe.
or you just outright give it to the best team on the day on the weekend, and then you just leave it at that until the next best team on the day on the weekend shows up, because that's just the nature of this fucking game. It's never been this bad. I've seen where, like, I feel like in every other title, teams will win, and then they'll still be competitive the next tournament. They might not win, but they're not going to go from being best to worst. This game, it's happened literally every tournament where stuff like this is happening.
I
The
think-
team that wins just starts to look worse, or with the exception of OpTic, because I think they still look good and consistent. They're the 2 exceptional, they're the 2 exceptions, FaZe and OpTic, where they look good, then they look average. They look good, they look average, but not average, but less good, I guess. But everybody else, sorry, Pat, let me finish here. Like everybody else, it's like really good, really bad. Like look at Toronto this event. Those guys were terrible. Now they're really good. Look at Florida
Scott
at
Champs.
points. Look at Florida at points. Terrible,
Mhm.
great. Look at 100 Thieves. Terrible, great. Not to say that they're not making changes trying to actually improve, but like who's to say this team improves at this tournament? Then they go back to regressing again. And it's just like it makes it really frustrating for a person like for myself. I like to be super analytical, and I like to take things from a statistical standpoint and apply them. I can't do it in this game, dude. It's so hard.
It's hard.
Do.
Dude, it's hard. It's
so how do we gauge people's performances then? Do you just take it for as it comes? Right?
I take
Like,
it as
what
it
else can we
comes. On
do?
this game,
I
there's
think
nothing
that-
else you can do.
The team we're missing in this is Surge, bro. I think they're the literal epitome of this game. Started out frying, go back, get world starred by every team and look
and then
terrible.
they're bringing it back. And they're bringing it back.
Then they upset FaZe and upset another team and beat the best team. And it's like, okay, are they back? And then just don't even win a fucking respawn at the Pro-Am.
Wait, they didn't win a single respawn map?
Not one.
No,
Not
dude,
one.
they look
lose every series?
terrible. They look terrible.
Yeah, they got
Who they lose
bodied.
to?
Wait,
Strike
Doug, they didn't win a
lost to
respawn.
Philly.
How they
Yeah,
win?
they
How
lost
could they win a series?
They lost to
Wait, who-
Silly and Gunsy's team. Who else was in their pool? Was it FaZe? Yeah, FaZe in Toronto.
FaZe.
They lost to
Mhm.
FaZe Toronto and Strike X, and they didn't win a single respawn.
That
And they
is
looked
not
terrible,
good.
bro. It was
That is
and
really bad.
and Sib, I think, had like one series that he fried. The next series went like neg 30. It was like just a crazy roller coaster of a ride.
I want to see if we
And
can
I
pull
think
that
their
up.
performance is the epitome of just how Vanguard goes for a lot of these teams. Granted, I think Seattle Surge should still make a roster change, but yeah, I mean it's almost getting to the point where it's impossible to predict.
I think you have to chalk it up to just CODs nowadays. I mean, especially this game. But there was a stat that I saw on Twitter. You guys probably saw it, of like the average player's accuracy in the league. You guys see
Yeah.
that? I think it's like, bro, it in IW in World War II is like 22%.
And that was like top of the line. You were cooking.
Yeah, and that was one jetpack game, IW and World War II boots on the ground. And then in Cold War and Vanguard, the last two games, dude, is like 32 and 28 or 29%.
It
It's just like
30 plus.
Or it's something absurd, and it's not. Oh, these new age players are just they shoot lights out. It's literally because you don't have to track anymore, and how with the slide canceling and all the gimmicky movement, it's literally just reaction time.
Snap.
Like,
So,
Yeah, like
What else?
the
Nah,
that,
I do
and
that.
obviously you could say you're centering and whatnot, but like the older CODs, you had to not only be able to center well, not only have good reaction time, not only have good flicking ability, you had to be able to track because people didn't just die, and I think that causes a lot of inconsistencies
and
in this
control a
game.
little bit of recoil because
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying COD has always had crazy recoil, but it definitely was a lot more than it does now.
Well, now you get 10 attachments, Pat, so you
That's
don't
fact.
you just
Well,
stack it so your gun doesn't
I
have
don't-
any recoil.
I don't know if you saw, Ian. I replied to that Twitter thread, and it was an aim assist chart. And I don't know if you knew this, but in the old COD, so like I'm gonna assume I don't have the stats, but I'm gonna assume it was like the jetpack era and before, right?
Mhm.
The range for aim assist, so like where your aim assist falls off at, well, on a sub was roughly like 25, 30 meters, right? Like max.
In the old CODs.
Yeah, in the old CODs.
Okay.
It was for sure like Modern Warfare 2, BO2, stuff like that. I'm assuming it carried through in jetpacks and stuff like that. And the reason I say that is because I think this was introduced when Blackout and Warzone and Fireteam Dirty Bomb was introduced.
Mhm.
But the aim assist range 2.5x. So we went from having like 25 meters roughly of aim assist on the SMG when you ADS. Cold War was 65 meters. So
Jesus
it's literally
Christ.
2.5x. So
So you could
and
just gun people across map easily, is what you're saying?
right. I mean, dude,
Like
think about it.
aBeZy
The
on
one thing
Crim
we've-
on that little gunfight that he had on the garrison.
What's the one
on
thing we've
bridge?
always talked about? People square up in fights that are like you would assume are so unwinnable. Like
Yeah.
that's why we think SMGs are do it alls, right? Like
Yep.
they square up with ARs across the map and they're able to win the fight.
Not in this game though, Pat.
Where in the
Well,
older CODs, no, I know what you're saying.
Headshot multiplier, yeah. But I think if you look at other situations, that still is true. But like, bro, going from having 20, 25 meters of aim assist to having 65 meters of aim assist, and I'm gonna assume I don't have a fact checker to say this is true, but I'm gonna assume the aim assist is a little bit stronger too, right? Like it. I don't know if
Probably.
you guys feel
People's
the
Yeah,
same,
shots are
probably.
a lot straighter
Well,
now.
Well,
Pat.
you also
Yeah.
have to
dude,
add into the
accuracy's going up 20%. Like
you have to add
Technology.
optimization too of like being on PC and everything and all that. But I mean, you're not wrong, Pat. Regardless, that's actually insane that it was 2.5x. Where it's like you said in the older CODs, not to be that guy, but depending on the gun you had, the gun you were running your role, you really had to be thinking big picture. You know, especially as like a sub. I know you guys know because you all played more Call of Duty than I have.
Yeah.
Where
couldn't
like
square up with anybody.
yeah, like your positioning had to be on point, and even vice versa with an AR because you knew I need to have just only these long range engagements. Whereas nowadays, it seems like it doesn't even fucking matter. Everyone dies in a bullet. It doesn't matter what gun you're running. You
They
know,
saw
it-
through it all.
Not
Yeah.
only that, while we're on the topic of just like Call of Duty, the nature of the league, how it transitions to the teams and placings and stuff like that. Call of Duty not only has gone easier, but to say that there isn't a lot more inconsistency in mechanics that to the casual viewer might not sound like a big deal. To somebody that like myself and other pro players that actually understand Call of Duty and how every little thing in like affects the gameplay, things like tac sprint, right? I posted this on social media a couple days ago, but I said tac sprint is the worst mechanic in Call of Duty. It's not slide canceling. And the reason why I'll say that is because you look at a game like Cold War that was pretty competitively sound, in my opinion. It's not the best game, but it was competitively sound. The reason why tac sprint is by far and wide the worst mechanic introduced into Call of Duty is because it's literally impossible to track when a player has tac sprint up and or is using it, right? Which makes it so it's impossible to mentally track accurately how far a player can travel within a certain point in time, because you don't know if he wasted his tac sprint, if he has part of it, et cetera, et cetera. So when it comes to reading player movement and positionings and timings, it makes that so much harder on players. You combine that with terrible map design, right? Which creates a lot of corners and
Respectfully,
sub lanes.
Respectfully, though,
No, not
respectfully.
respect. There's no respect to this.
Disrespectfully.
Disrespectfully,
Go ahead,
terrible
Chris.
map design. There's just so many, I like to call it RNG, random number generator, lucky things in Call of Duty. Not only that, but another one about tac sprint that I actually forgot to mention is tac sprint by nature makes your pull up time, right? Your sprint to fire time so much slower that sometimes you losing a situation is based on you double clicking your sprint button twice, more so than it used to be in other CODs, because when you come off sprint from a normal sprint, it's not as slow as a tac sprint. So sometimes situations and plays can be dictated by so many of these, variables that they just added to Call of Duty and not only that, they made the game easier. You're making the game easier. You're adding more inconsistencies and all these casual elements.
Well, squad spawns.
And squad spawns, right? We were talking about how it's not punishable to die at 15, 20 seconds when
At
before,
all. You just hit scrap. Who cares?
bro, if you died at 15, 20 seconds in older CODs, you would
Chalk.
get flamed. You would
Chalk.
get actually roasted by your team. Now it's like, as long as somebody on the other team doesn't get through to the next objective, you can just head bash old scrap time and you won't get punished for it. Like, bro, they are taking the skill, they are taking the mental capacity out of Call of Duty to a point where it's not only creating such inconsistent results in the competitive scene, but it's just making it terrible to play. Like, there's no secret that the Call of Duty pros don't like this style of Call of Duty. We tolerate it. That's literally how it's always been.
They're getting paid. Yeah, it's because they're getting paid money. That's the only reason.
Yeah, you're seeing it in matches, bro. I get it. Players have gotten better. I get it. There's been more resources for teams to kind of elevate and for there to be more competition. But I'm sorry, I refuse to believe that these games aren't having a incredible impact in terms of the way the games and the results of the league are. Bro, it's bad. Like, those small intricacies, they add up in a game, and especially in a season.
Ain't that some shit, Chris? You said it perfectly, by the way.
That was amazing. We need to clip that, and that needs to be its own separate entity.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
its own.
incredible.
Bam. See, I'm glad
it's
Chris said it, because if
dude.
I said
That's
that, people would be
amazing.
cooking my ass.
Bro, I'm a fucking analytical freak, bro. People know this when I used to play COD. I love just the smallest shit. I see the smallest shit and I can literally just, I don't know. I love it. And I get pissed off every year just seeing the Call of Duties that get released, bro. Like, I come from a game and that's Black Ops 2, bro. That game was the best game ever. And it's not because, oh, the guns were fun to shoot or this and that. It was because the maps were fucking well designed. The movement was consistent. It had fast gameplay with its sprint out time and stuff like that, but still rewarded you for being an aware player with the EMPs and the way they took away your HUD and stuff like that. We were having this conversation before. Like, we miss that kind of gameplay. Now it's just head bash, get cracked. Oh, I sprinted at the wrong time. I died. I just lost the hill because of it.
As the league itself has expanded and grown, right? And we have all of these resources that, none of us really had for the majority of our careers. But the games that are coming out, to your point, it's like you don't need these resources. Like you have all this extra help, but the game is so watered down to where it simply just becomes fucking button smashing, essentially, like compared to the older CODs when it comes to the intricacies of the game itself. It just sucks. I hope they could turn it around. I really do, because it's not fun. I feel for the players. They all hate it. None of them enjoy it.
It's not what it used to be, man. And that's part of why I retired, but that's a different subject. But anyways,
That was incredible, Chris. And I just want to say one last thing to your point, Chris, because I tweeted out something extremely similar. I said the tactical sprinting and squad spawning. And just to give you more perspective, like with Cold War, there was no tactical sprinting. There wasn't squad spawning. The results were extremely consistent. The best teams were the best teams. Minnesota ROKKR was the fourth best team. The teams at champs that got their placings earned their placings. Right?
I would still argue spike cancel is still a problem.
It is still a problem,
but it's not as much of an issue as like things like tac sprint and map design and low time to kill. Like those are the by far and wide.
When it rains, it pours. It's just a lot of issues.
Yeah,
I would fucking. I know we're ranting on this a little bit, but Pat, I would kill to see some of these players get pelted by EMPs for an entire map and watch their communication as a team just crumble. You know how many people?
Not only that, have to think about changing classes, bro. Do you know how many? I had to have a tac mask class, a flat class, a hardwired class, depending on what the other team was running and how many, and have to switch between a stun, a nade, a double EMP, a stun, and an EMP. Like you had to.
There was actually a meta.
Be in a meta, yeah.
Yeah, it
doesn't exist anymore. It's run the same class and head bash, get more kills, out trade, and if you win it, if you have more score in the game, you win.
People can barely call out. People can barely call out while they're in an engagement. You think people don't crutch on things like the mini map? Like it's the same thing, bro. You come from Halo, Ian. Do you know how fucking outraged a lot of the Halo pros were when competitive had a mini map in it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying the mini map doesn't deserve a place in COD. COD's a lot more fast paced than Halo, in my opinion, especially with the respawn. So the mini map definitely helps subsidize some of the chaoticness. But the EMP introduced a nature where you had to have a level of awareness because your HUD, your individual awareness could just instantly be gone. And then you would have to just be in sync with your team. And I think stuff like that is missing from Call of Duty.
It adds an extra layer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all these other, the last thing I'll say on it, because I know, but this is something that I think we're all passionate about or talking about, just because we all played a shit ton of Call of Duty. I mean, shit. Oh, sorry, you might have to bleep those back out. But Doug's still competing, and it's like we all have friends in the scene, and we want to see them enjoy what they do, make a lot of money, have success. But it just seems like, especially as of late, everyone's stress levels are just at an all-time high. And that's because all these other FPS games have so many layers to them. They're so intricate. And then Call of Duty, it's literally just whoever can shoot straighter is what it seems like on that given day. Whoever can win more gunfights. Like there are some things where you have to be methodical in this game. Not going to say there's nothing, but it's just so watered down. It's so dull, especially to older CODs. It sucks. It sucks to see.
And it's mainly search, right? Not even respawn. It's mainly search, but
I mean, all of them, Pat. At this point, control, win your defenses. That's it.
Wait,
dude,
one thing I want
to.
Yeah, one thing I want to touch on with search and destroy. It's like in this game, say map like Tuscan. If you're in a 3v1, all you simply have to do. It's not like you have to watch like left, right, and middle. You could just run around the outskirt of the map with your whole team in a line, just like tactical sprint throughout the whole map together.
It's like impossible for him to get a 3-piece.
Yeah. It's impossible for him to get one and get away. Like, in other games, like back in the day, like Black Ops 2 or Ghost, you had to have like spread setups. Like it was a very important thing to make sure you have spreads everywhere on the map, or, you couldn't like run together as much. Like if you ran together, you could get picked easily.
Bro,
but in this
body
game,
stacking
you can't.
used to be a terrible play. Now it's
horrible,
like almost
horrible
like
play.
Promoted. But
body stacking was a free 2-piece.
That so we can transition on to two more recent topics. That way we're not just talking about this for the entire show, which I know we could. Funny thing is, a team that I think is a byproduct of this Call of Duty inconsistencies and stuff like that in my opinion, is FaZe. I think they've been struggling this year. They're not the same FaZe that they were in Cold War. I think they're a level lower than they used to be, and you see it when they play, teams like OpTic. I think they have a mental block. I know for a fact a couple of the players hate the game because I talked to them on a personal level. I can't say who, but they are struggling this year. And I know for a fact, not only are they're 0-4 versus OpTic, by the way. They cannot beat those guys. They definitely
Even with
got
the
some
sub.
sort of a mental, but like they are unhappy as fuck with this game. So like there's just so many layers as to why this team
I heard
is
Cellium's
not
the only one who enjoys it. That's what I heard.
probably. There are so many layers as to why this team is not as successful this year as they can. I'm not making excuses for them because at the end of the day, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're not, or sometimes you're the best, sometimes you're not. But like we got to talk about it because there's a lot of ways we can spin this, man.
I mean, the first things first is because people say this all the time, and I hate this take. Where it's like, what? Like, how could you not enjoy the game? You're playing a video game for a living. You're making a bunch of cash. It's like there's people out there in the real world, whether they're athletes or they're just working like an office job, that hate their job, but they do it for their livelihood. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason with video games, it's always like that's the worst excuse ever. You get to play a video game and make money. So I feel for them because they're clearly playing, if they don't enjoy the game, for the competition, and they're making good money off it. They love competing. They don't like this Call of Duty, which is fair. And the second, they definitely have a mental block, Chris. It's as simple as that. Seen it before. We've all seen it. Okay. I've lived it on the opposite side, of course. If they couldn't get this, if they couldn't get this win with OpTic having a sub, a lot of teams picking up new players, like this was their event to win, to kind of get their confidence back, get a win, not just be in the finals, and they can't even make it to the finals and they lose to OpTic with the sub in general. I don't know, because it's likely that they're going to run into OpTic at these last couple tournaments of the year. And I think it's going to be the same way, where the only way FaZe win an event is if another team takes OpTic out, similar to how it was, in AW, of course. So it's tough.
Pat, when Rise got taken out?
Yeah, I mean, but hey, still 3-0'd OpTic.
We don't talk about. They might care about. We don't care about World War II.
Never
But
bring up Pat's glory days.
Wait, we talking about AW. Y'all are on that team. Y'all welcome for that, by the way, because their mental block was against me.
Good try.
Oh no, I was Kentucky frying those.
Let them know, Chris.
But listen.
Wait, do we all?
Wait, I have a question for you, Pat. I have a question for you, actually.
We did.
This is for all you guys, but like, is it weird that they can somehow have a mental block after beating OpTic and beating this team like so many times, or beating these players so many times before? Because it makes sense if it was like a newly formed team, they had never really played against them, or like played against those players, and you kind of have a mental block. But it's like they've beaten these guys before multiple times.
You know what it is? I don't think it's a combination. I don't think it's just a mental block against the players. Like I said, I've talked to a few of these people. I think it's both, not only a mental block against the player, but against the game. It's like you're not playing against Shotzzy. You're playing against Shotzzy on an MW engine. Like that type of thing.
I could see it. So it's like whenever they start losing to OpTic, or just in general, it's like they chalk it up. This game's ass. Like it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I'm not making excuses for him, but I'm just
thinking. I'm just speaking.
We've all made those excuses, bro. We've all had Call of Duty titles we fucking hated, right? Or Call of Duty titles that we've disliked. And when you start losing to a team that almost feels like they're exploiting the flaws with the game, you just get fed up, bro.
Listen. Let's be real for a second, though. First off, they got Neslo'd here this weekend, and the hard point they lost by like 4 points or whatever it was super close, and they easily could have won. Like Scump made a miracle play that FaZe obviously had a miscommunication on at the end of the game. Aside from that, I think the real problem is FaZe and their S&D. Like, I don't necessarily think it's a mental block against OpTic. I think it's just a mental block in search, because their S&D just looks so sloppy compared to how good they were in Cold War, in Modern Warfare. Like, their S&D used to be like something that they could really count on. And I think that's really the struggle for them is, and it's not so much, yeah, the game sucks. I'm sure they aren't enjoying it, but if they can just turn their S&D around, I think they'll stand a great chance against this team because they already do stand good chances versus them in all respawns.
Haven't they
S&D is just the problem they've gotten beat up on.
haven't they got like eliminated from tournaments multiple times on Berlin Search? Is that like the map?
Yes,
Every tournament,
6-4.
every single
It's
tournament.
lost to OpTic,
6-4.
like, every time, yeah.
Wait, well, so Chris and
OpTic,
Doug,
LG,
And LAG, yeah.
I have questions for you two then because you guys played more than me and Pat like the last couple of games. Is S&D in this game that much different than even the past couple like titles like Cold War, Modern Warfare? Obviously, we went from 5-5 to 44, but besides that, is it not that similar? Because you would think if it is similar, they'd be fine, but it's not their bread and butter.
I don't think this game plays terribly in S&D. I think S&D plays the best in this game in terms of like the way the game modes play and stuff like that. I don't think S&D's bad.
The
But
map design is horrible.
yeah, but
for
I don't think
S&D.
I'm trying to think of all
Bokage.
the maps.
Worst Bokage search and destroy. I
Bro,
can't believe you play
Desert
that.
Siege. That's also a terrible search map.
I don't think Desert Siege is bad.
Bro,
I
I
Like,
can't
you
see
have-
nothing when I play that map
You
in
have
ranked play.
wide open map with one building that goes in the middle, like one building's in the middle of the map, and everything else is wide open.
Maybe it's because I'm watching and I haven't
and you
played
can
it.
you can
played it in a
swipe for
while.
aim assist. That map is not good for search.
Yeah, I
Used to
guess
be
you're right.
quite-
But I don't know. I still think S&D probably S&D from a viewer perspective plays the best in this game. I think Hardpoint gets a little crazy with spawns and stuff like that. And although you can kind of read them, nowadays if you actually understand spawns, I think S&D still plays the best, even though it's not the best game mode. The one thing I will say though is, out of all the game modes we play, Control, Lord, it
It's
is
just a
horrible.
snooze
Resident sleeper, brother.
Defense,
is what that is.
literally wins 85% of the rounds. Like, we
Unless
gotta
that
it's
get
is-
in mode.
unless it's
That is
Berlin, right?
unacceptable, bro.
even
What?
on Berlin, dude, defense
on
is still
Berlin?
winning majority of the time. Yeah, like that B point's a struggle for teams. I don't know.
Shit.
Control is just a snooze fest, dude. It's like whenever it comes on, that's my snack break, bathroom break, shower, whatever it is. Like that's when I'm taking it in a series because it's just not enjoyable to watch at all.
Yep.
I mean, that
Anyways.
has to come down to just the maps, by the way, though, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
Because
Control was these maps weren't designed for control. Control, we knew this, right? Because it wasn't in the game at the beginning.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
a last minute mode was made and then just put on these maps.
It's crazy to think that the strategy of it is just like 3 players or 4 players playing through a line on the one point. Just keep running through, keep running, keep running. Don't stop running. Just keep going. Like, how is that? Why? What are we doing
So
right now?
hold on, real quick. Why is it? Why so weird topic here? Why is it that we don't just play 2 game modes? Is there a reason to have a 3rd game mode?
Well, how would you do
It
it?
sounds nice.
I mean, if
we
it's
just play Hardpoint more or S&D more. Pick your poison.
But the problem is we need the 3rd mode to make it unbiased because you wouldn't want to just be a search team. If you get 3 S&Ds in a series, you could just be a search team and only play for S&Ds. Like that's why we've always had swing modes, well, no matter what they are, because you want to balance out the series, right? Like 2 hardpoints, 2 searches, and the swing mode. That's the biggest
Yeah.
reason I
But-
could
yeah.
think of.
But it's not like
at
bro,
that
there's-
point, you might as well just make it all one mode.
But all I was gonna say was, why the fuck do we need a swing mode? We have, I mean, there's we're not gonna completely compare this to like Counter Strike or Valorant, but they play one game mode the entire game.
Well,
Like,
then we can do that. It's either then we would have to play one mode. But having why would you want bias in a best of 5? Like you can't have one mean more than the other. That's just for competition's sake. That would be
the thing is
that
though, we
would be-
shouldn't be looking at it as individual game modes. It's just COD, bro. COD is just a multi-game
But that's
mode
not
thing.
how it
You should
works,
be
and you know it. It's game modes.
true.
You think about it, game modes.
I don't know.
You
Maybe
just can't have an uneven spread. In a best of
But
five.
to be fair, though,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, to be fair, in the past, that 3rd mode has been pretty good. Like we've had years where,
Uplink, CTF,
yeah,
Dom
Uplink,
even.
CT, like, I don't know about Dom.
Uplink,
Dom
Uplink's
was
different.
not bad pre-modern. Like Modern Warfare was terrible, but before that, it wasn't
Nah,
bad.
but dude, regardless, the nature of domination, it just promotes camping. I know it doesn't necessarily play out like that, but it does promote camping.
Control, Chris.
We've
I mean,
had,
this is bad.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm saying the 3rd game mode to a degree, it might not be how the maps play out, but they almost have all, besides uplink, but that's because we had jetpacks. We're not getting uplink and respawn. Maybe we could find a way to kind of replicate a game mode that's kind of similar, but like all those game modes have promoted camping to a degree, right? Capture the flag. You get one flag, you basically just play TDM, make sure they don't cap. You're camping to an extent. You're obviously,
That's
it doesn't play out that way.
That's not really the
But
strategy.
okay,
Like,
I
you
get
could
it.
say
But
the same thing about
domination is the
Search.
same thing. Domination
Defense
is
in S&D promotes camping. Like it's a kind of a mute
mean,
point. Like,
but
you're
there's
gonna
also
defend your objective.
but there's also an attacking perspective, which is why we're always watching the attacking team on
But there's an
Search and
attacking
Destroy.
perspective when you don't have a flag in domination. It's the same thing. It's just like,
No, I guess you're right. It's just I don't know. I
teams
just view
teams can elect to play a certain way in those third modes. It's
yeah. No,
like
I guess you're right.
anything
No,
that's
it's probably a
linear.
bad
Like
take.
any mode that's not hardpoint, teams can elect to play defense. Like hardpoint is just unique because it's a constantly moving objective that you cannot ignore. So you can never
Yeah,
play defense.
I don't know. I just think the third game modes, while traditionally some of them like Capture the Flag have played well, they've all been fucking boring. Besides, what was it called?
Uplink.
Uplink. Yeah, I think CTF even was boring as hell. Like you had some interesting situations, just like you do in Control, where you have some really close, tight rounds, and those are always fun to watch. But like the overarching, part of the game mode is just terrible. And we're not going to talk about Blitz because Blitz was horrible.
Yeah, our producer
know about
James is
Blitz.
hashtag bring back Blitz in the chat.
no
Hell
one's bringing
no.
back Blitz. That
Nate Chop
shit
was the best Blitz player.
trash.
That's how you know it was trash. Control was good though in Black Ops 4, but it was because of the maps, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know if it was because of maps. I think it was because of the game mechanics. That
I
shit
think it was
was just
specialists.
I mean,
think
well,
Specialist
yeah,
is what helped
Specialists
Control.
added another layer to it, but I still think the maps made, I mean, bro, come on. Look at the maps and where the points are at. And it's impossible to even like switch the points on these maps. It's just the maps are bad. They're bad
mean,
in
I
general
think-
for every single mode. It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
but
I think that's the thing because good maps fix CTF and Dom too. Like both those game modes get massively better with good maps.
imagine playing Gavutu CTF. Oh, you get one
Jeez.
cap, bro. It's GG. I'm not leaving my spawn. You don't have to. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Who knows? We've been cooking Vanguard, and I love
We
it.
have been this episode, man.
Playing the game though, with all this stuff that we've been saying, to be honest with you, man, like
No,
look,
don't say it, Doug. Look at Doug. You about to say, oh, it's fun.
No,
who's the
you
number
enjoy-
one ranked
you-
player in the world?
It's Doug Censor Martin, baby.
How much rank do you have to
Shane.
play? You have to play a lot, right?
A lot.
Not
Oh no, you're a
constant.
grinder.
So if I'm playing the game a lot, clearly I'm enjoying it. I agree with
Bro,
a lot of
Doug,
the points
you-
you're making, but the game's
But
so
no,
fun.
no,
you enjoy
Doug.
competitive COD.
No, Doug. No, listen. It's not even about COD, Doug. You are just, and this is a big compliment because I wish I was like you. You are just very passionate,
You're built different, Doug.
very persistent. You're built like in life. Like you have a goal. You want to be the number one ranked player. Like your grind. It doesn't matter. You want to do this. You want to be in the movies. You want to be on the big screen. It doesn't matter. And you're enjoying every single part that goes into the process.
Yeah, Doug, you're
No,
one of those
no,
That-
you
people
got
that
screwed over. You got screwed over from your team last week, and you made a Twitter video, and you were smiling ear to ear like you
Yo,
received the
I'm coming
best
back
news.
for
Yeah,
blood.
you won the lottery, and you were like, "This is a minor setback for a major comeback. I'm not no problem at all. Life is good. I'll be back. Don't worry about me. I'll catch you in a stream." You're
Doug
just-
literally lives in the moment. And that's the
built
type of
different,
person
Doug.
he is. You're built different, never change.
Yo, if I was Doug, I'm
But-
making that Twitter video like, man, F my
Fuck
old
Clay.
teammates, y'all suck, y'all some backstabbing. Doug's like, I love all those guys, man. I'm coming back even better. It's typical, Doug. It is.
Never change.
Uh,
Doug,
no,
never
yeah, no,
change.
those are the best traits, but you can't lie to me with a straight face and say you love this game.
Enjoy playing the game. I really
Okay,
do.
that's
First of all,
fair.
thank you for all the nice words. It really means a lot. But the game, look, the game's corny. I hate slide cancel attack sprint.
There we go.
Maps
There
aren't
we
that
go.
Great. Like now, I hate it
Keep
in terms
going.
of being competitive.
Let's
But
go
when
get
you
the
know you
torches
got a
out.
nice angle to slide cancel somebody and get a nice two piece, it is satisfying, right? So although it's not a good thing for competitive, like I miss like playing slums hardpoint and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
you had to get to a position and the position was important and it was all about getting to the position and how you maneuvered around it. This is more so like mindlessly run around in circles with tac sprint and there's no way of like really accurately tracking or reading and predicting without like any uncertainty which angle and how they're going to hit the angle on you is going to be. Just like how you were saying analytically before, Chris. That's why I'm not going to get involved with it because you said it way better than me. But there's too much inconsistency with it.
There's
And
there's not enough punishing mechanics in Call of Duties nowadays. But anyways,
I think the Joe
we
Seacott interview sums up everything that
yeah.
you need to know.
Anyways, let's get back on track because we still got to finish off the Pro Am. Teams that improved and teams that were, I guess, lackluster that you might have expected more from. Let's talk about that. So I know Pat is very high on the Toronto Ultra. He says that they will be winning the World Championship this year. That's his prediction for the entire year. So Pat, tell me what you think about Toronto this event, which might help reinforce your point to that prophecy that you have coming.
Yeah, so I think they improved in all the modes. Obviously, they massively improved in hardpoint, which wasn't hard to do given their previous record. But I think they're still struggling on closing games out. Late down the stretch, those final hills, final rotations. I think they're still sloppy there. S&D was pretty 50-50, but I think going off where they were to where they are now, I think it would you almost have to say they made a massive improvement. And so if they can stay on that trajectory, I think, as the game goes on, their teamwork is going to prevail. And, as they get, as they play more and get better and hopefully just start watching what some other teams do in some of those like late game rotation situations. Cause, we saw it today. We broke a play down where they're just watching the same shit, like just doing basic shit wrong that could make monumental differences when they have the game won. But yeah, I'm still high on Toronto. I think they're very talented. The biggest thing for me was seeing Cammy and Kleenex kind of start performing a little bit better than
They
they
look
had
good.
been in their slump. Yeah. And outside of Toronto, obviously we got NYSL, massive improvement from the clusterfuck of the roster that they've been this year. Obviously able to win this tournament, but I was always high on that duo and even trio of Paul, Crim and Hydra. They always look good to me. I think they should have dropped Neptune and never brought him back and got somebody else, whoever that would have been. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on NYSL. Obviously, they won the event, but
We all thought they were going to be the dark horse, right? We had them get top 4, top 3, whatnot. But they played great. They did go 4-0 around 11s, which isn't necessarily worrisome because they still won they closed the series out. Besides maybe the Toronto series where I thought Toronto should have won it, but they look good. It'll be interesting to see how they play moving forward. It just sucks for NYSL and even LAT being in the finals that this was only for money, because both of these teams would have loved to get some CDL points for that, especially NYSL because they're really down there. But I think I'm more confident in this win than LAG's win and how I kind of am ranking NYSL moving forward.
Well, I think I agree with you, Ian, and the main reason why is because LAG uses the Volk to win, right? Like it was new, but now everyone's using the same guns. The Volk's obviously not in, and they look like a consistently great hardpoint team, which seemed to be one of their issues in the beginning of the year when they had their other rosters. So I definitely think that they're going to be one of the best things. I think the best team is still going to be OpTic. I think number 2 is FaZe, and I think number 3 is New York. If you guys want to say any different opinions, I'm more than welcome to hearing them. But based off of what I'm seeing, like I still have question marks because New York only had to play Toronto and then Thieves to win the tournament. They didn't have to beat FaZe or OpTic. I still think that New York will be really good, though.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head.
It's so tough. I mean, we say it every episode. It's OpTic and FaZe, and then dude, everyone else, it's hit or miss.
Well, something else to consider, man, is 4 round 11s reminds me of kind of like what what Toronto did at the first event. Remember they won like all those round 11 S&Ds and they didn't win a respawn, but like got top 4. Same with LAG, right? Winning 10 S&Ds in a row. Like some of those things are like impossible to replicate, right? You cannot rely on winning 4 round 11 S&Ds. And so I think, if they didn't do that here, it's a question mark of where they could have ended up placing.
Wait,
so we'll
but how
see.
many times did New York go last map?
Well, none or once I think. But like
See,
No,
that's
New
the
York.
reason,
They won 3-0, 3-1 every single series.
exactly. That's why I'm still confident on them. Yeah,
It was their map 2 round 11s that they won.
Yeah, they
Oh,
did.
right.
They did lose. They did almost. They did go last or not last map. They
But
did go
their
round
S&D
11
could be a
map
weakness,
2.
and that would have been forcing them to go game 5 more.
Yeah, but
I doubt
I
it.
mean,
No, I don't
it
think
might be
so.
it might be a weakness, but at the same time, I wouldn't call going like last round a weakness. I think
Well,
like
listen,
they're
we've all played COD,
competitive.
though. When you clutch up, like ice up, round 11, win map 2, that's massive momentum going forward in the
Yeah.
series. Like losing that could tell a whole different story, right? Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
to me, it's like we just don't know, and like if they're
it's
going
definitely
down in those
momentum, but
series, we'll have to
like
see how that looks going forward when they don't clutch up.
it's definitely momentum. But I mean, at the end of the day, bro, you're not going into another hard point. You're going into control. Like it doesn't matter
Yeah,
how
but
much
hey,
momentum you got. The
bro,
game
think
mode
about
kills it for
control.
you, brother.
They literally miracle won 2 offensive rounds versus Toronto that they should not have ever
Well,
won in that
we
control.
I think Ian just touched on that. He thinks that they should have lost that series. So
They
that's the
should have.
one
They should
series.
have easily
No,
lost game
I agree
4.
with you. That's the one series where I'm like, yeah, Toronto probably choked, but like every other series, it looked like a convincing W. Like, granted, they had the 6-5s and the S&Ds a couple times. Every other map that they actually won, I was just like, damn, they are frying these guys. Like, that's
Well,
at
not
least
the
how it
Berlin
felt.
HP versus Thieves.
Wait, what
Yeah,
do you
well,
mean? Well, yeah, that's the
I
one
spoke
map
on
they
this,
lost.
Doug,
Yeah, I'm saying the
and that's
maps they won.
250 to 85.
I think. But hold on, something we need to talk about though is they were somehow able to get like their best map in every series. Like teams were not banning it against them. I think Thieves was the only team that banned that bow cage hardpoint against them. Otherwise, it got in every other series. And I think going forward, teams are obviously going to learn like, okay, New York's really good at that map. Let's get that out of there. And to me, I mean, New York looked horrible on Berlin. Like Thieves smoked them on that map. So I think that's another thing to keep in mind is going forward, teams are going to veto better against a new NYSL team that
Yeah.
they previously didn't know how they were going to play on.
Yep. There's a lot of factors that'll make it a lot harder for them to win. Winning once is not that as hard as winning multiple times. That's why you gotta tip teams like OpTic, teams like FaZe, and in other titles, right? Like going on streaks and stuff like that is definitely the hardest part because teams end up getting better and they end up knowing how to play against you, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. So we'll see how that happens. But honestly, props to New York. Props to Toronto for coming out playing better. LA Thieves. Props to the OG for playing with the sub. But another team that continues to disappoint that we haven't touched on this weekend is the Minnesota ROKKR. What the hell are these guys doing? Because they bring on Havoc and they still look the same. It doesn't look like anything's changed with those guys whatsoever.
They're horrible.
Once again, we all called it. A role swap, a one player swap, doesn't matter. You have to make a major move with this team.
And
Can
I
you
think
bring Major Maniac back
He
in?
did make a
don't
major
make-
move.
Yeah.
Don't make that major
don't
move, though.
Make a major move, but don't move major.
Oh
think that's
god, I
the
mean,
lesson.
no, bro, look, they got to replace 2 players minimum.
I think they got to keep Major Maniac, man. I'll be the one to say it.
At this
Did
point,
you
don't
guys
even
see-
matter.
Did
The
you
team
guys see
just don't
Attach's
work.
tweet? And Ian, you're gonna hate this. Did you see Attach's
Yeah, it
tweet?
was
He was like, I'm going
the-
back to my roots or whatever.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up right now.
but like,
He
To me,
deleted
that
it.
just screams he's going back to a sub, which is a problem. 'Cause
like
they have Priester running the main too. Like, what are they doing?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know how the weather is up there in the Minnesota camp. I know it's got to be cold
Yo, we were
because
talking about the air in Minnesota is something different.
I don't know what the water's like. I don't know what
Listen,
the weather is. It doesn't
There's
matter.
no tweet from Attach right now at all.
Yeah, no,
He
I
might have
told you.
deleted
it.
He
Deleted
it.
Yeah.
I'll be the one to say it. Listen, I love Preston as a person. I know he was great at one point, but they must be paying this guy actual racks because they are avoiding benching him, dropping him, whatever the hell they want to do with like the way I avoid fucking going to the gym. Like no bullshit.
Huh?
Like
What?
literally, they are done. Listen, man, I'm serious. What is good with them? Do they not like? I don't know what their coaching staff does or their analysts do, but do they not see that my boy Preston has just been underperforming for a long time?
Oh, that's
Like-
Standy though. Outside of Cold
Okay,
War,
but
Standy's been really
Standy,
bad
but
for
Standy,
Standy.
yeah, but that's 1 year, and also the whole team has been mid, right? But the one consistently mid player in this whole equation, as of what? When was the last time? I want to say Black Ops 4. Was he? I don't remember when was the last time that Preston was like a superstar.
Yeah, probably 100 Thieves, BO4.
I mean, yeah, Black Ops. Well, you got to think World War II, or not World War II, Modern Warfare. He kind of had to take that role.
He was
as
still
like-
solid though.
Yeah, no, he was
Yeah.
good. He was good, but I wouldn't say he was like a superstar player.
Like, I don't know what it is, but he's not the Priesta that we've known for a long time. And I think he needs to take the fall for it, but like, bro, Minnesota needs to wake up, and they need to see if maybe swapping him out might be a more viable solution, because like I said, I have no problem with the guy, and I feel bad saying this because I do like him, but I'm just calling how I see it. Like, he just hasn't been the person that we've all known for a long time, and I think they might have regretted letting go of Major Maniac. I think
Well, aside from what they did do, or what they should do, let's talk about what they did do. Their move doesn't make any sense. Like, how is Havoc bringing Havoc and moving Preston to a main AR when Preston's played every other role on the team, and getting rid of one of your most consistent players in Major Maniac, especially in S&D, and then taking Dylan off main, who was succeeding in that role? Like,
Yeah.
their move made no fucking sense.
The water up there.
I mean, they could have put Dylan on the
they were
flex, Major on the
trials
main, and then have Havoc and Standy on the subs.
I mean, there's just multiple
That's
issues.
the
It's like
same
you
thing as
said.
that's the same thing as the team of Preston on a sub. Like, I don't know. Havoc
Bro,
played
the only
better
one who's
than they all
actually
did, but
the only one who's actually been doing good individually is Dylan, is attached.
and
That's
only
it.
on an AR though.
Oh yeah, and only on an
subs, he's
AR.
horrible.
But they have so many issues where I don't care if you bring Major back. Okay, I got no like ill words towards Major, but he's not a top AR. I don't think he's that impactful. Standy has not been the Standy that we saw last year. Priesta, like you said, Chris, whether it's himself individually or just a product of the environment that he's in, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes in that camp. But they have too many issues. Like, they actually need to blow it up because they have so many holes in their team. It doesn't matter if you swap any one of these players that they currently have on Minnesota, it's not going to work. I don't know if they have challenger players or what, but they need to make major moves. And I'm not emphasizing that to bring Major Maniac in like big moves. They're chalked, in my opinion.
They should go after Scrappy.
Not a bad call, honestly. And whoever else was frying in the Pro-Am this past weekend, if they can.
Wardy, right? Wasn't Wardy playing well?
From what I saw, yeah, but I don't know. It was kind of hard to watch because something like most of those series were on the
non-casted.
Yeah, like bro, I'm not sitting there watching just listening to gunshots. No, that's like ASMR.
Yeah.
Well, now that we have the Pro-Am wrapped up and obviously New York won it, who are the key players to watch in the next 3 weeks? Do we think there's going to be more roster changes? Do we think that teams are going to continue keeping their teams and doing what they're doing? Like, is Harry still going to play for Gizmo? Like, what are we feeling?
Dave Patty's got to be the number one person to watch, bro.
Dave Patty?
He's got to go.
Bro, did you guys see the series that they lost?
Have you seen his stats, bro?
Yes. Bro, people were cooking me.
Kills and 20 less deaths than all his teammates.
And he got a 1.1 still. He got a 1.1.
Bro, like 2,000 less damage. He's
pull this
gotta
up now.
go.
It's
I feel like that
bad,
Arcitys
Doug. It's
would
bad.
actually be so good if they just get like a normal paced main AR, or even pick up a sub and let Caesar or Awake run the AR. Like, one of the two. There's multiple solutions, but
I'd be more
I don't
pissed.
care about the comms. Dave just isn't it for me.
Just imagine if we were playing, all of us, how angry you'd be if you saw your teammate who's running
that's
your
too quick. I'm telling you.
was that too quick?
That's how Too Quick plays.
Reincarnation of Too Quick.
Bro, Chris, you play with Too Quick too. Like, you would just be like, bro, like, what are you doing? In the 10
Too Quick
minutes
was
that
a
we-
Bro, y'all literally roasted me for it. Remember at Champs and AW how like I was using the shotgun or whatever and I had no engagements or whatever?
AR.
Huh?
Yeah, but that was for a whole other slew of reasons.
Okay,
You
but
were
I'm saying-
using a shotgun, son.
Okay, but you get the point. I had little engagements when I'm supposed to be playing aggressive. Like, bro, when people have these outlier statistical performances, especially when they're not putting up engagements. I'm not saying engagements are the end all be all, but when you have close maps and you're just an outlier, like you're positive whatever with low engagements when you're losing by like small amounts of numbers, what the fuck were you doing on the map? Like, I'm out there like throwing my life away, 10 more, 20 more times than you trying to clutch up a situation. Where are you?
Especially at the pace that this Florida team is playing at. Vivid's the fastest player in the league. Wake is playing extremely fast when they are. Yeah, we'll give him, like, we harp on him sometimes for Killhorn a little bit. Caesar is playing fast. And then you just have Dave, who's like never.
No, Dave does have their. I just looked at all their series, Pat. Sorry to cut you off. He does have their least engagements and least damage in every series.
Yeah, and
by a lot.
And least kills. He's never outslayed a teammate.
And I'm not saying that Dave thinks he's playing well or whatever, but like at this point, there's been enough series to where there's just no way I could believe that this is how Florida wants him to play. You know, like and also I refuse to believe that he thinks or that like he doesn't think he's underperforming. Because
1.1. What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. End of the series, like, damn, good try, guy. Oh, damn, you had a 0.8, Caesar. I had a 1.1, baby. I don't know. You might like go back and watch the VOD. It's like, bro, this is an anomaly at what he's doing right now compared to everyone in the league.
If you make a comparison to every other main AR,
you can't compare him to anyone.
Dave Patty has a top 10 KD in the league.
Yeah, bro, he's playing. I'm telling
you.
He's
Yo, how pissed would I be?
Bro, he's got to be statting, bro.
Like, come on, bro. Way. Just go die. Just don't even shoot your gun. Just go sprint a couple extra times at least. Like,
bro, I forgot what map it was. I think it was a Berlin Control. He was like 5-1, and Vivid was like 15-13.
Like, I don't know how. I mean, like, so Dave Patty's definitely. Possible? I think this is make or break for him. Like I said, I would be mind blown, word to nameless, if he wasn't up on the chopping block. Because because you have someone like Caesar Skies who can. First off, they have 3 ARs. Okay, so there's no reason why they can't just move Dave Patty and get someone else who's going to put more pressure.
Sub on their bench if they don't want to make an acquisition.
Oh, Yeez, right?
Yeah, they have Yeez on their bench. Even if they try it out, like just something.
So he's on the chopping block for sure. He has to be, because the Florida team, they have moments of brilliance, and we've seen it.
Yeah,
like they can actually be a contender, but you're just not going to help your team out playing like that. I don't know who else. Who else would be like a player to really watch?
John. My next one's John for sure. John is massively underperforming. Like I remember when this first formed. Like I was so hard on Jimbo. And like, granted, he's not been like a superstar, but
he's been better. He's been better.
A lot better. But dude, John is throwing up like consistent stinkers, like 0.8s over and over and over.
He had the best accuracy on the aim labs, though.
He has a 0.94 in the season, Pat. John.
Yeah, but like, look at his series. Like, he's literally throwing up like this weekend. And it's not like it's repetitive. Where I just feel like they lose a series. Look at the stat sheet. He's going like 0.8, -20, like. At some point, he's just got to – because the thing about John is we always think about, like, when he was frying, right? Like, when he was John 287, BO3, IW, like, he was cooking. And it's like he had that break, and we just haven't seen those, like, any moments of brilliance from him. And so I think, like, this Paris team, Donnie's been performing year-round. Tom Gravity's been frying. I don't know if you guys saw him this week.
Tom Gravity had a really good event.
He was cooking,
this is the best Paris
he was doing his
first look.
Subliners 3-0'd Paris Legion, and Tom Gravity had a 1.45 with the most damage on his team.
He was frying.
John had a 0.75. Jimbo had a 0.82.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just like, I don't know if Paris. I don't know who Paris could get, but I feel like they've just in a position where, hey, they finally got some people going positive and doing solid and getting kills. Like, you might as well keep. You got nothing else to lose. They're in bottom.
John had
of the
a
league.
0.73 when they 3-1 the Ultra Academy NA team.
Yeah, it was just no good performances out of him. Like, even when he's like okay at a 1.0, it's like just
Tom Gravity had a 1.34 in that one, by the way, Pat.
Performances. Oh no, I know Tom Gravity is fine. And I guess the last one for me, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I think it's Lamar.
100% Lamar. 100% Lamar. Because
this Seattle team has to make a change. And I think to Chris, your point was always like, well, who do they get rid of? I think if you're going to make a change, it's got to be Lamar. He's the most like not inconsistent on the team, but like I feel like if you take away the like leadership and the comms and stuff like that, like he's producing the least on this team, in my
Well,
opinion.
Pat, just to stop you for a second, Toronto 3-1 Seattle Surge, and Lamar had the second highest KD with a .99. It was Pred with a 1.10, Lamar with a .99, Mac with a .88, and Sib with a .81. And Mac had the least damage by far in the lobby. I'm just
But
going
it's
through
kind of
like
like back to that conversation of like, well, what are they like? How efficient are they being on the map? Like, yeah,
that's the thing
Lamar.
about the stats that I don't like, Pat, because I'm sitting here looking at all these KDs and damage, and it's like that tells one story, but then you got to think about how the players work with each other. Do they help set each other up to get kills, put each other in positions to win,
It's
to
just
win and make
potential,
plays?
bro. It's like we've seen Sib and Pred and Mac all reach certain potentials on this game where they're absolutely frying, absolutely hard carrying maps. And I get Lamar brings leadership, and I think Lamar's a great player. I think but at the end of the day, it's like you're looking to make a change. I think you probably just make a gamble and go with like a super slaying roster, like somebody
Imagine they
maybe
had
like yeah, Scrappy, maybe even like Gunless. I think Gunless could also be a good addition to this team because Gunless, just like Lamar, has those leadership aspects. But no offense to Lamar, I think Gunless is a better
Unless with
player.
this team could be.
I don't know how they'd get him, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like
Major could work
hypothetically,
for
there
it.
are options that I feel like they could definitely try or maybe attempt to make. And yeah, I don't know. It's just they're just such a weird team in such a weird situation where, like I said, Mac disgusting, Sib we know we've seen him disgusting, Pred disgusting, and
Those
it's
guys
just
are
like
still inconsistent though.
exactly. There needs to be. They need to find a way to channel that energy consistently because if they can become scary. I don't know what they need to do that. I don't know if it's a leadership change. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's just a player thing. It could be all of them, but I think they definitely need to mix up the vibe. And hopefully they can get lucky and trigger that, potential in some sort of way. Because if not, it's starting to look kind of like that Minnesota ROKKR team where it's just like I think their season's just chalked. Like this,
Mhm.
they just can't put it together, and it doesn't really matter what they can do. I don't think they're going to have the options to end up making it into something consistent at least this year.
I
But
think that's the biggest issue is we all know Lamar. He thrives in a structured environment, right?
For
This
sure.
Seattle team, I, they're super inconsistent. All the players, I like Lamar is the most consistent in my opinion. Now he has the lowest ceiling for sure compared to all the other ones, but it's like one series, Sip could have a 1.4, Pred could have a 1.3, Matt could have a 1.3, and then the next two of them have 0.7s.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if it's like if it's something that they have enough time to work on this season, right? Of being more structured to add that consistency to their gameplay. I'm sure that Lamar's probably tried it and Seattle's probably tried it. So I don't know if it's better to drop Lamar and just pick up someone who maybe could be hit or miss, but has a lot of potential, a lot of talent, a lot of slaying ability, and hope for the best. Or you just try to like fix your mistakes within your team, similar to how LAT's doing it. But I just don't know if those players are there yet. Like Pred
No.
and even Mac, but Pred and Sib, I think they still need to kind of learn the ropes of being a consistent top player in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say you almost like it's one of those things where like their team looks good on paper and it looks like they have all the qualities to be a top team. They just can't put it together and shit. This might just not be their game. And I know this might be a terrible way of thinking, but you just go into the rest of the season, hope for the best. Try your best to become the best team you can. If it doesn't work out, whatever, go on to next year because you have the pieces. You just got to put it together somehow. That's why, like, every time this team has been brought up, I tell Pat, I don't know what the fuck they can do. They have some of the best players from challengers that they could have picked up in Sib and Pred. Mac, we know, was disgusting the last 2 years on the New York Subliners. And then Lamar, we've known him to be the Iceman, to be clutch, to be a good leader, and you know what you're going to get out of Lamar. They have good pieces. I don't know where they start if they do make changes, but I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with it. I'm definitely interested to see if they try to reach out and make changes though, and see
So,
where they
all
go.
right. with what everyone has just said and everything that I've compiled throughout this entire episode, the only way to conclude this is by our early Major 3 guesses on who's going to be playing in the finals. And it only makes sense. And if you guys disagree with me, I'm going to roast you. Because it's Call of Duty Vanguard and we talked about all the inconsistencies. I think it only makes sense that in the Major 3 finals, we're going to be seeing Seattle Surge playing against the Minnesota ROKKR for the championship. I mean, that would just be the perfect. It wouldn't shock me either. And I think if it would happen,
Jesus
that would
Christ.
actually
I was going to get this right.
Shock me. No, it would shock me actually. No, there's no way that's going to happen, bro. Seattle versus, could you, oh no, Florida. Like any of those three, any of the combination, like Minnesota ROKKR versus Seattle Surge, or like Florida Mutineers, like we're talking about these issues.
I got Paris versus Minnesota in my finals.
That's a good one too. Like take the worst teams in terms of rankings, and now they're gonna win because that's what's been happening now, right?
I got Florida. I got Florida versus OpTic. Florida wins, and Dave Petty is MVP, and he's running.
Okay.
And he's running a submachine gun.
Petty MVP.
Yo, that's Tuger's dream right there. He would be on our asses if that happened.
Bro, Tuger would be fucking flaming.
Bro, he's probably gonna tweet us like some stat of Dave Patty like going fucking having the most damage and shit coming up, like, or one of their series that they.
Yo, he's waiting, dude. I don't know. Like, I still think OpTic's got to be in the finals. Being realistic. But then again, I don't know, because I don't know what's wrong with Illy's thumb.
They got first and then sixth.
No, I know.
Yeah, they still haven't came out and said what it is.
Like, I don't know if Illy can even play. Actually, you're right. I take that back. I have Paris, Minnesota in my next finals. That's my guess.
On a realistic note, Toronto Ultra, OpTic.
That'd be a good finals. That would be a good finals.
What about you, Pat? What are you thinking?
They're heating up at the right time, Pat. It's your champ squad, baby.
Let me get FaZe versus Seattle, and Seattle takes it home because they always beat FaZe, it seems. And Seattle
would be a good one.
I'm gonna go FaZe Ultra.
Yeah.
Who's beating OpTic to get to the final?
FaZe, of course.
Oh, you think they get over the little speed bump?
Yep.
Speed bump. That shit ain't a speed bump.
Yeah, no,
ain't no speed bump.
That's the speed bumps. You guys know those speed bumps that are like they fuck your car up. They're not like the normal little ones. Like, bro, I swear it's just like a straight square, son.
Nah, bro, that's not a speed bump. That is a pothole, bro.
No,
they are
potholes
fucking
in the ground.
stuck.
Potholes in the ground.
They are stuck, bro. They literally ran over that pothole and they cannot get the fuck out of there, bro. That's where they are right now.
They got to call Pat. He's got to come swap the tire for FaZe. So all of a sudden, Aches is subbing in for Atlanta FaZe. Simp is an unknown illness.
He's the only one.
Imagine if y'all win. Killer. I would throw up if that happened.
That is the OpTic killer, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that was a pretty good episode. I think you can close this out.
I'll be back.
Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, you want me to close this out? My bad.
You are rusty. It's been a minute,
bro.
Yo, it's been like 8 weeks. Listen, yo. Great episode of Reverse Sweep. As always, sorry for the 6-7 week hiatus we had, but look, as always, we come to you every Monday with all the CDL recaps. So yeah, sorry for the break, but we'll be back next Monday talking about the qualifiers for the Toronto event. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. These motherfuckers want to see me take my hat off. So
want to see his mullet,
I believe. So yeah,
please.
See you guys next time, and thanks for watching.